As a modern-day retro video game compilation, Sonic Origins Plus really fascinates me. You see, I wouldn't be a typical Sonic fan on the internet if this release specifically didn't leave me with a million thoughts. New Knuckles content for CD! Cool! Amy, aka Rosie the Rascal, officially playable for all the games. That's pretty sick. These are things that should have been in the original release, and it's kind of scummy they're paid DLC on top of the base game that's already suffered a bunch of problems, but hey! Amy! And we get a box this time. The new music for Sonic 3 is still pretty bad though. Oh no. The most curious addition though are the addition of the Game Gear games. Hooray? Now this isn't the first time Sega's used these Game Gear games as some sort of big ol' hype bonus. Oh hey, they're unlockable in Sonic Adventure DX. We put 6 of them in Gems Collection. Oh, we apologize for not putting them in Mega Collection, but they're in Mega Collection Plus now. Buy the collection again. I feel like Sega's gaslighting us. Who cares about these games that much? Mega Collection still clears Origins, by the way. For Sonic Origins, though, then yeah, I guess these titles still hold some relevance. I mean, it's kind of weird that we now have access to Game Gear Spinball and not Genesis Spinball, but... It's kind of crazy to think that Sonic's very first handheld adventure was released only a few months after the console game that started it all. And that little handheld, the Game Gear, ended up being home to a whopping 12 games. And considering the Genesis had a handful of games to call its own, all obviously releasing around the same time, Sega was really firing on all cylinders, pumping out Sonic content as much as humanly possible right from the very beginning. And my god, he was just a little boy. Does this not violate child labor laws? Also worth considering the Master System. Sega's console before the Genesis had some of the same games as well. It's like if Nintendo made Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo and then kept making Mario games for the NES. It's really strange when you think about it that way. Although I guess we did get Mario is Missing for the NES. Does that count? I feel like in the entire lineage of Sonic's handheld history, most people are aware of the Game Gear games for sure, and then we just kind of jump forward to Nintendo's handhelds, the Game Boy Advance, the DS, maybe the PSP, there was a game there, but no. In actuality, Sega got away with so much more. So today, let's take a look at every handheld Sonic game there ever was. Except for the DS and 3DS stuff, I did that already. And of course, we're gonna be talking about pure handheld consoles here. Not like, oh wow, every single Sonic game is available for a Steam Deck. That's a handheld, let's take a look at all of them. No, we're not doing that. But there is this weird Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog visual novel that's only on Steam. What the hell was this all about? And also, that would technically make Sonic 4 a handheld game, and I don't want to play that game ever again. But first, a message from today's sponsor, Bye. And hey, check it, this is a Sonic video. There's Sonic stuff in the ad read. I got you, I promise. Bye is easily the best way for someone like you, someone likely not in Japan at the moment, to order something from Japan via a Japanese website. Japanese Yahoo, Amazon, Mercari, Rakuten. Bye aggregates all of the different online big shopping sites into one convenient location. And I'm telling you, just spend some time here, type some names into the search bar, and I guarantee you'll find something cool. I mean, we're talking about Sonic today, right? Just type in Sonic into the bar, and then a couple minutes later, I found a nice cheap cartridge manual combo back for Sonic 1 on the Game Gear, a cool looking coin bank, this vintage Sonic plush, a prepaid phone card with the 6 Sonic render on it that I've never seen before, an old official shirt of Sonic and Knuckles that says the best on it. I mean, they're not wrong. So to get good stuff like this and a whole lot more, all you gotta do is purchase the item that you want, and then Bye will order the item on your behalf, and then they will prepare it for international shipping straight to you, no matter where in the world you're located. And I love being able to use this airplane B-roll multiple times. And yes, the best part of all, just for you, I got some savings. Click on the link down in the description below, make a brand new account, and you will get a 2,000 yen coupon for your very first purchase. Dude, that's free money now, like, come on. Thank you again to Bye for sponsoring this video, and now... Sonic. The Game Gear is quite the interesting beast when it comes to one Sonic Maurice Hedgehog. Of the 12 titles that released under this umbrella, 5 of them are the tried and true side-scrolling platformers that, are what Sonic was most known for at the time. The rest of them are also there. You got Spinball and Mean Bean Machine. These are like the Genesis games, but less. Drift 1 and Drift 2 are pretty decent racing games given the hardware that they're on, and they really don't deserve the hate that they at least used to get. I actually do enjoy these from time to time, outside of the ear-bleeding screech once you finish a race. The same thing goes for Labyrinth, actually. Dumbest idea in the world, okay? Robotnik gave Sonic slowdown boots, so now you gotta go through a labyrinth. Got it. The controls are pretty frustrating at times, there's a lot of flashing lights, so you gotta be careful about that. And yeah, it's pretty damn slow if you're not spin dashing all over the place, but damn it, I don't know. Something about this game is telling me not to hate it, even though it's the dumbest thing ever. And it was also the Game Gear that got Tails a spotlight here. That's pretty interesting. We got the arcadey auto-scroller with Sky Patrol and the pseudo-Metroidvania with Adventure. One game takes advantage of Tails' ability to fly, and the other one takes advantage of Tails' ability to be a nerd and make gadgets. Look at him, what a nerd. Both games also introduce a brand new slate of villains that we haven't seen since, like this witch in Sky Patrol, and this army of bird people in Adventure. Come on now, you mean to tell me that you don't remember Dr. Fukurikov and Bearanger? Some Sonic fan you are. I do get the feeling that a lot of people actually kind of like Tails' Adventure as a bit of a hidden gem, but admittedly, I was never really a fan. Something about the slower pace and the reliance on gadgets, I just never liked how this game played. I mean, if Tails had a game to call his own, this is basically what I would expect and something I would love to see return to one day, but as it currently stands, yeah, sadly can't play this one for too long, sorry about that. I actually like Sky Patrol more. It's not better, I just enjoy playing it more. I don't know why Tails can't stop flying, and he always looks sad and stressed out in this game. I just kind of want to cure his anxiety, man. I've been there. I want to help him out. But then, of course, the games you probably care a lot more about, the actual platformers. Sonic moving left to right at moderately quick speeds, baby! The problem that I used to have with these Game Gear games was always expecting more than what this console was able to provide. Well, these games can never be as good as the Genesis games, right? Why even bother? I was just never able to see these games for what they were, and not for what they weren't. You fast forward to just a few years ago, all of these games are finally out of my backlog, and man, we really range the entire spectrum with these 5 games. You look at Triple Trouble, and you look at Stupid Blast, same console, and it's proof there's a higher power out there that hates us. Sonic 1 and 2 on the Game Gear may seem like just ports of the console games based on their incredibly original titles, but no, they're actually entirely unique adventures. Like in Sonic 2, if you don't fully complete this one, Tails dies. That's not how the console game goes, come on. Really, Tails in Sonic 2 GG is just kinda weird no matter how you slice it. Like, the plot is about saving him from Robotnik, yet he appears on all of the Zone title cards, like he's with you the whole time, like what? And in Sonic 1, dear God, where'd his nose go? Ultimately, these games are fine. Sonic 2 definitely strives to be a lot more original than Sonic 1, throwing in entirely new zones filled with brand new enemies, boss fights, and gimmicks, while Sonic 1 maintains a lot of aesthetic similarities with the console version, but hey, bridge and jungle zones are pretty cool, those are new. Really good theme songs too, in fact both games have great soundtracks from top to bottom, many of these songs you do not see in the console games. The problems with these adventures though come down mostly to the Game Gear's screen size, like it's just far too small. There are too many platforming frustrations that are there because you just can't see what's right in front of you. Now luckily, both do have Master System ports. The hardware for both were pretty similar, so the transition is actually pretty seamless. If you are so inclined to play these games, then yeah, the Master System versions are the ones to load up. They make the Game Gear versions just seem like a neat little novelty, and that's about it. They still don't compare to the Genesis games, like, for God's sakes, Sonic 1's got auto-scrolling sections, and I feel pain. But in their own little bubble, they're decent 8-bit Sonic games. And also special shout out to the fan-made remakes of these games too. Not many people know about these, but some fans out there made these great remakes of these 2 games that aren't necessarily faithful, but I'll be damned if they're not really fun. We got widescreen for both of them so you can actually see what you're doing, that's a godsend. Sonic 1 has newly added zones from the Genesis games like Marble Zone. Sonic 2 has the buddy mechanic, that's pretty cool. There are extra characters aplenty for both of these games like Ray in Sonic 1, that's pretty surreal. The gimmicks that were already there got some polish, and hey, some new ones too. What is this surfing nonsense in Oil Ocean? Okay, this isn't faithful in the slightest, cause like, also look at that, it's supersonic. What? Damn it, it's not authentic, but it's still pretty cool. These fan games are getting updated all the time. If you're looking for a Sonic experience you likely haven't checked out before, definitely give these a go. And hey, while we're at it, check out this hack of Sonic 1 on the Game Gear that changes all of the aesthetics and music to be that of the Genesis games. Really got no other options when it comes to interesting ROM hacks for the Game Gear titles, but hey, pretty impressive how they got this game to look while still being a Game Gear game. Need to remind you, Sonic Blast exists. Let's move on to Sonic Chaos and Triple Trouble. Now these are where the Game Gear shines for me. 2 adventures that completely stand out on their own, no confusion with names that match the console versions. We got level designs and gimmicks that feel like they were more naturally built with the Game Gear in mind to limit frustration. These are pretty good. I mean, yeah, Chaos did drop on the Master System too, but Listen, I mean what I said. I can play the Game Gear game and not want to die, okay? That's a positive. Of the two, I do give the notch to Triple Trouble because Chaos, it doesn't really matter what console you play this on, it almost feels like an overcorrection at times to the frustration of the earlier titles. This one is almost too easy. The levels are really straightforward and short, the bosses are a joke. Finding the Chaos Emerald in the stages is the only real challenge. Like listen, I didn't say this game is great, I just didn't hate myself while playing it. Triple Trouble is the absolute star though. There's an actual plot this time around, pitting you against Robotnik, Knuckles, and a brand new character, Fang the Sniper, or Knack the Weasel, if you like getting into internet arguments. Levels are a lot more complex, gimmicks are actually functional and fun, the game looks and sounds super good. Triple Trouble is just a really solid time from start to finish, and easily the Game Gear's best. But, you know, I would of course be remiss if I didn't mention the incredible 16-bit remake as well by Noah Copeland, taking everything that game had and making it feel like the Sonic 4 that we never got. The Sonic 4 that we never got. A Sonic Chaos remake was in the works as well to make things look and sound a lot like Mania, but unlike Triple Trouble, this one isn't complete. What's out there though shows a lot of great promise. That demo is really fun. Remakes and reimaginings of the past 4 Game Gear adventures existing and all representing their source material in different ways is super cool, and it shows that the Game Gear truly did provide something that all Sonic fans should experience one way or another. Unlike... Oh god, I'm gonna vomit.
Oh god, what is this?
Okay, let's take a step back here and try to be logical. I think they were trying to make a Sonic game that looks like Donkey Kong Country? Yeah, that's the only praise I got for Sonic Blast. You may say that wasn't praise. Yes. Alright, so yeah, cat's out of the bag on this one. Sonic Blast is one of the worst looking games I've ever seen in my life. But more importantly, how does it play? Oh well, let me tell you, nothing quite beats the feeling of playing this game for a bit and then turning the Game Gear off. It just feels bad too, man. Like none of the levels feel special, controlling the characters feels bad, the bosses are badly designed. Yeah, Sonic 1 and 2 were frustrating at times, but this just feels completely lazy. Maybe this was just the product of trying to wow people with the graphics. Oh, look what's possible on the Game Gear. I mean, 3D Blast on console was full 3D. Maybe we can get something similar on the handheld. But no. This is a f***ing atrocity. It goes Triple Trouble, Chaos, 1, 2, literally anything else, and then maybe Sonic Blast if there's alcohol involved. But even then, I'm gonna just stick to the alcohol. Preferably rubbing alcohol. I'll drink that instead of playing this. Looking at the Game Gear lineup as a whole, it's definitely there. Am I being too harsh? From this point forward, Sega would jump around to as many different devices as possible. You know, they would stay in the console market for a few more years, but the Game Gear died in 1997. That's not gonna stop them from making a handheld Sonic game anyway. Sonic Pocket Adventure for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, a classic Sonic game but with the modern green eye Sonic, because we want fans in 10 or 20 years to have arguments on the internet about eye color. The NGPC, this is another fascinating handheld, only lasted a couple of years on the market, it had less than 100 games available to it, and most of them were just pushed out by SNK, the team who put out the console itself. And hey, it's got a cool clicky circle pad. This device is just fun, and Sonic has a game on here? Yeah, it's still kinda odd. Developed by the people who would go on to form Dimps, the team behind the Advanced Trilogy, the Rush Trilogy. Yeah, that's where it ends. While Pocket Adventure's existence is certainly strange, the game itself, I mean, yeah, it's a Sonic game, alright. Like, it's almost a note-for-note reimagining of Sonic 2 with music from Sonic 3, and that's about it. The Sonic 2 half-pipe special stages are here, the bosses are new, I appreciate that. Partway through, we mess with the entire idea of this being Sonic 2 and throw Knuckles into the mix, and probably the neatest little nugget of information of all, Robotnik starts off in his classic outfit, and by the end, he's full-blown egg gentleman. You throw in the classic-looking Sonic the Hedgehog with the modern green eyes, and this game almost acts like a transition between the two distinct eras of this franchise. And besides, I know we're all thinking the same thing here, there simply aren't enough versions of Sonic 2 out there. What's another one to throw into the mix? That Sega decided to not throw into the Neo Geo Pocket Color Selection Volume 2 even though the Mega Man fighting game is in there, and we could have had artwork of Mega Man and Sonic on the same box art, and that would have been so cool. Why do you hate money, Sega? Clearly this team did a good enough job the first time around, so when Sega exited the console market, alongside the GameCube re-release of Sonic Adventure 2 known as SA2 Battle, which is still an all-timer Sonic game, I'm tired of these arguments saying otherwise, the Game Boy Advance would now be the home for more traditional 2D Sonic, with the Advance Trilogy from Dimps, aka Sonic 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, I'm one of those people. Yo, check out this sick strategy guide, by the way, for both Adventure 2 and Advance 1. You flip it and then it turns into the other game. This is so cool. You know Sonic Advance 1, right? Brought to us by THQ. These games sometimes get a lot of criticism for a multitude of reasons, usually stemming from Dimp's tendency to fill their level designs with bottomless pits, and their pretty obtuse ways of obtaining each game's Chaos Emeralds. Definitely not a fan of that part. Both of those statements are valid. These games are far from perfect. Like Angel Island from Advance 1 is one of the most painful levels you could ever experience when it comes to screwing up your jumps. There are bottomless pits. You know what? The entire level is basically a bottomless pit. But call it blind nostalgia if you want. I love all three of these games. I always appreciated it when a long-running franchise took their opportunities on handhelds to try something a bit different. And with each entry in this trilogy, the core gameplay loop, pun entirely intended, is as Sonic as you could expect. But while 1 mimics the traditional flow of the games that preceded it, 2 would go for pure unadulterated speed. A lot of actual platforming challenge goes out the window, for sure, but this was one of the first times I ever played a Sonic game and really felt like going fast was the primary goal, something Dimps would very clearly continue with when it comes to the Rush games later on. And then Advance 3, well, this is almost a combination of both, being super fast but bringing in more intricate level design that can be traversed in a plethora of ways due to the new buddy mechanic where you can partner any 2 characters together, usually offering slightly modified movesets. And hey, different playable characters in general. I mean, yeah, we had Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles before, that makes sense, but playable Amy? I'm down with that. And we got newcomer Cream the Rabbit in Advance 2, with her evil Chow of Doom, Cheese, that can kill anything in sight with the press of a button. Watch out for Cheese, is very dangerous Cheese. Cream is adorable and deadly, I love it. Man, the soundtracks are really good. I've always loved the sprites and the overall aesthetics. Like, yeah, if we want to pull out the old analysis machine, a lot of flaws will start to show. Again, these games ain't perfect. Getting all the Chaos Emeralds sometimes is very, very annoying, and finding all the Chow in Advance 3, that sucks, okay? You know what? I'll say it, that sucks. It sucks a whole lot. Not a fan. But coming from the games on the Game Gear, which mostly felt like, yep, this is Sonic alright, it's the Advance games that for the first time in this video, I feel like we're really trying something a little bit different to stand out. And considering what would happen soon after, we need to appreciate this era before the nuclear bomb went off. Also, the mini Chow Gardens? That was pretty cool. You can raise a bunch of Chow in a console game like Adventure 2 Battle and throw one of them into your GBA to raise it on the go. Even play a little mini game if you're feeling up to it. Certainly not deep at all, by any stretch, but quite frankly, any title with GameCube GBA connectivity are inherently interesting to me. And also the fact that the handheld version of Sonic Generations didn't show respect to any of the handheld Sonic games outside of Rush and I guess Colors DS is still a disgusting crime, and I'm still mad, okay? A modern form of Music Plant and a boss battle against Gemerl in 3D would have been so sick. You can tell I'm a Sonic fan because I keep giving the multi-million-dollar company ideas on how to make money. But of course, the GBA wasn't just the Advance Trilogy. Can't forget about Sonic Pinball Party, baby! It's a party now! It's a video game with a story where your friends are evil and you gotta pinball in order to rescue them. Video games are stupid, but look, Knights. Sonic Battle though, now this is an underappreciated gem. Listen, alright, a fighting game on the GBA, you're already going into this with limited expectations. Look at Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu. What on earth is this? What they managed to achieve here is actually pretty good because they went away from the typical 1v1 formula. You got nearly a dozen characters to choose from with this interesting choose your attack loadout before you spawn in mechanic. One character allows for full customization with a ton of unlockable attack pieces, and it all takes place in 3D environments that look pretty solid for the hardware. There's even a story mode that... Okay, now this is where the game flounders, I'm not gonna lie. The interactions are pretty spot on for how the characters were portrayed at the time, with a lot of the plot focused around this new mysterious robot, Emerl, but gameplay-wise, the difficulty is pretty inconsistent, randomly getting into matches that are either surprisingly difficult or take shockingly long for no real reason, and things begin to drag pretty quickly when it comes to the plot, especially since there's this whole world's traversal thing too that really doesn't add much to the overall experience. It's just kind of there, and now you can run around and... yeah, cool. But hey, the core mechanics are fun. Find some friends with multiple GBAs and link cables in the 2020s and you're in for a good time. Good luck. Hell, at the very least, I can appreciate the extra Emerl lore to amplify Gemerl in Advance 3. The long, continuous lore is what I play these Sonic games for, after all. Okay, fine. Did you know that Sonic Genesis released at the same time as Sonic 06? Vote to wipe November 2006 from history? God, what a disgusting abomination this is. How could Sega fail a simple port this badly? Like, okay, I get it, we all make fun of Sonic games here. It's annoying to see the same bad Sonic game over and over again, but God, it still blows my mind. The mechanics are terrible, the music is horrendous, there's slowdown at every single frame, it's quite frankly impressive. Oh dear God, and good luck in the special stages. Ooh, anniversary mode? It's just the same game with the spin dash. You mean you don't normally take out the first boss this way? Listen, for all the slack I give Sonic 4, maybe I'm being too harsh. You know, it certainly doesn't control very well, but it plays a lot better than this. Rise of Lyric, Black Knight, Forces. Hell, let's throw Schoolhouse into the mix. For my money, Sonic Genesis is the worst game in this entire franchise. At least some level of effort went into the other bad games. This is just the lowest of the low, and even further proof there's a higher power out there smiting us for even liking this blue hedgehog in the first place. Like dude, Sonic Spinball in the Sega Smash Pack for the same console plays a lot better than this. Oh my God, how embarrassing. Massive shoutouts to the ROM hacker Stealth that managed to do what Sega don't. That didn't sound right. And not only get Sonic 1 fully functional on this console, but even throw in Tails and Knuckles just to show off. Now granted, this is a tech demo, it's just Green Hill Zone and a couple of special stages, but hey, just to show off that this was actually possible if Sega cared at the time, it's impressive. It's no surprise that Stealth would go on to work on Sonic Mania. Dude knows his stuff. Game Gear, Neo Geo Pocket Color, Game Boy Advance. The next logical step would be the DS and the 3DS, home to plenty of Sonic games. Well, like I said, I already did those, and you should watch those videos if you haven't already, after this one, of course. But, to quickly recap, nice. Kill me. Oh man. Oh God. Oh man. You know what? Not the worst thing. And now, as we all know, around the same time as the DS, another handheld entered the scene that had a Sonic game to call its very own. A competitor with another Sonic game? That's crazy. Of course, I'm talking about the N-Gage. You remember Sonic N, right? Sonic N, huh? What a title. If you don't remember the N-Gage, then I'm envious of you. Though you did miss this hilarious saga where everyone called this thing a taco. That was a good time, what a meme. All you really need to know about this thing is that to swap out cartridges, you have to take off the back and remove the battery first. Name a worse idea. As for the game, Sonic N, well, it's just Sonic Advance. I mean, the resolution is destroyed because you're forcing a landscape resolution into a portrait frame, but hey, if you wanted to control Sonic with a number pad and not a D-pad, hopefully not have a Chow Garden since that's been removed also, then this is the game for you. But okay, fine, on a serious note, can't forget about the PSP. Two little Sonic games grace this handheld, the Sonic Rivals Duo. And I'll be honest, I don't really have much to say on these. We have two adventures, each with multiple characters to choose from, but really, the gameplay remains identical the entire way through, which yes, is very much a Sonic thing, but here, I don't know, it's missing something. This game is missing a little something. The primary concept here is it's a race against another character, and you just keep pushing forward, hopefully faster than your opponent, and that's it. Like, levels do occasionally have some gimmicks, and you can actively affect said opponent if you run into them, and when there's a boss fight, you'll go against them with your rival, so like, there is some thought put into this whole idea, but both of these just really feel underwhelming to me. The perfect type of game where I see people go, oh man, I used to play this all the time as a kid, and then you go back to it and you say, oh, well, you know, at least I'm nostalgic. Credit to Rivals 2 adding more abilities for each character to stand out from the others, that's nice, and even having full voice acting for the cutscenes, I like that. But it's clear that the DS had the much better treatment between the two. Though, I do love Race to Win, the theme song for Rivals 2, one of the cheesiest songs I've ever heard in my life, but damn it if it isn't fun to load up on my millionth replay of Generations. And hey, the PSP at least had a better version of Sonic 1, courtesy of the Sega Genesis collection, so hey, point over the GBA. That collection also has Rystar included, and that game's sick. Alright, what's next? Oh, what, you thought I was gonna forget to mention Sonic Jam on the Gamecom too? This f***ing thing? They tried to get Sonic 3 running on a damn calculator, and I don't know what's worse, this game's frame rate, or the fact Resident Evil 2 is also on this device. Ooh, Sonic X on the Leapster? Oh my god, there's an actual game based on the Sonic anime? What? And it's an educational game, god. What's crazy though is they added more animations to the Sonic 3 sprites. Listen, I gotta give this game something. Oh man, Sonic on the Leapfrog Didj! What's a Didj? Yeah, it turns out that Leapfrog, a company known for releasing educational products and software, released a handheld called the Didj, which housed educational software. Why did more than one person look at Sonic the Hedgehog and think, yeah, he should teach my kid English? And yeah, it's bad. And also, it's Sonic 3 Sonic running through the zones of Sonic 1 and 2, and damn it, the lack of consistency is tearing me apart. Sonic's handheld history, much like his history in general, is like just this crazy and all over the place, and you never know what to expect with every individual game. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Looking at all of these handhelds, Sega managed to release well over 20 different titles. We had platformers based off of console games, we had platformers that were totally original, a bunch of spin-offs. Sonic Genesis? But hey, hold on, now it's time for the really fun part. Look at the time bar down there. We ain't even close to done. Sega is beholden to no company, so of course, this entire time, they've also been making Sonic games for phones. Oh god. Yo, they got Go Sonic Goo MLG on this? The fact this has over 6,000 positive ratings is honestly alarming. Just like the proper handheld consoles, Sonic has had quite the prolific career on mobile. I mean, nowadays we got a few notable titles that are actually pretty solid for what they set out to do. Sonic Dash is definitely the most notable one of those auto-scrollers that are everywhere on mobile devices. Hell, at least for Sonic, this format makes sense. Definitely more so than when Crash gave it a shot, especially considering Sonic managed to outlive that Bandicoot since that game already got delisted, so rest in peace, I hate mobile gaming. And yeah, it's fine. Whenever you're on the toilet and don't feel like reading the back of the shampoo bottle, Sonic Dash has you covered. And the events that they roll out for this are crazy, like they had a Pac-Man event, a Sonic movie event, so many costumes, it's insane, like including references to Unleashed, Black Knight, Sonic Prime, Tangle and Whisper from the comics, Bongo the Monkey from Danimals. Oh. There's even a Sonic Dash 2, fully dedicated to Sonic Boom. Were they so embarrassed by Boom that they had to push it off to the side instead of just making additional skins for the first game? Sonic with bandages, get that away from me, I want Bongo instead. We can't have Boom Knuckles and Bongo in the same game, that's too much power. And there's yet another one, Sonic Forces Speed Battle, where it's almost the same exact concept, except now you're racing other players. Many of the costumes and the characters overlap too, so why not just have a multiplayer mode for Sonic Dash? I'm so confused. It's money, isn't it? It's just about the money, so Sega can get money from multiple apps instead of just one. It's mobile gaming, I got it. Shout out to Punk Zaz. Sonic Jump, an endless jumper. Sonic Jump Fever, the same thing, but with some competitive multiplayer elements that's now delisted, cool. Sonic Runner's Adventure, a level-based auto-runner that lacks a unique art style and features a modern Sonic with oddly short quills. That'll get people mad in the comments. The original Sonic Runners, an endless runner with an infinitely better art style, but this one is also delisted. God, I feel so much pain. Man, come on now, let's not act like mobile games aren't still their own breed compared to proper console and handheld games. Rather than providing anything meaningful, these are meant to act as an incredibly simple and accessible way to keep you from being distracted and to keep a brand active in your mind while also squeezing out some money from you pennies at a time. If you look at me dead in the eyes and tell me that one of your favorite Mario Karts is Tour, I'm gonna think you're a cop. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. There are a few other Sonic games on mobile, like the remasters of Sonic 1 and 2 that people were begging for console ports for years before they finally gave them to us with Sonic Origins, which is right after those mobile games got decompiled, so we got better PC versions with mod support because life is funny that way, sorry Sega. Sonic Racing, yeah, that's the whole title. An entirely unique entry in this racing series that's Apple Arcade exclusive for no good reason, being a super simplified version of Team Sonic Racing, which not enough people played. Sonic 4 Episode 1 got a mobile port with exclusive levels that are total garbage, and that's all the time I'm gonna give this game. And arguably the most interesting of all, a few Sonic at the Olympic Games titles. No plumbers allowed, I guess. For what it's worth, Tokyo 2020, it ain't all that bad. Converting a bunch of Olympic-based minigames to touch controls, it works pretty well. Hey, look at that, Sonic Jump. Yeah, I'm convinced Sega just wants me to know pain. Now, this was released alongside the actual console game that featured another certain character that should not be named, so a mobile version is the epitome of a shameless cash grab. This isn't like the DS and 3DS versions of the other games. They actually put some effort into those. This, it just kind of is. And it's fine. The same can be said for the Winter Olympics back in 2010, and even further back with the original 2008 Summer Olympics back before phones had a brain. Seeing the advanced sprites thrown into an official Java-based minigame collection, it's kind of surreal, in not a good way. It's weird there was once a time where Sega looked at this and went, yeah, that'll work. The thing is though, this hedgehog hole goes deep. It's easy to forget that all mobile gaming before smartphones was kinda like this. Having anything running on the same machine that gave us is a miracle. Like, there was this weird port of Sonic 1, right? It had to be split into 2 parts. Like, you would finish Springyard Zone in part 1, and then the game would just end. God, what a time. And throughout the 2000s, Sega actually released a shocking amount of phone games. Some of them did get worldwide releases, but a majority of them were part of a Japanese exclusive service known as Sonic Cafe, where players would pay a small monthly fee to gain access to the entire library of available games. And now we know where Xbox got the Game Pass idea from. Sonic Cricket, Sonic Darts, the original Sonic Jump. Can't forget about Sonic Golf, definitely not forgetting Shadow Shoot. I could say that you just had to be there, but you know what? No, I don't think you did. I think I would much rather play those crazy McDonald's Sonic games. Remember those from back in the day? Of course you do. There was that one Pakistan commercial where the guy went, "Sonic Skateboard." Iconic, absolutely iconic. Thank you, Pakistan. Oh my god, who is that? Oh yeah, now we're really getting into it. In case you didn't think having 2 versions of Sonic Unleashed was enough, Gameloft gave us a 3rd, exclusive for Java phones. Can't get much more morbidly curious than this, because you know what? I'll be totally honest, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but this ain't the worst thing I've ever played. You got original sprite work, original level designs, both the hedgehog and werehog mechanics have been adapted to the side-scrolling style in not the worst way. You know, I'm not about to say this is a crazy Sonic hidden gem locked behind old phones, and gosh, if only game preservation were more important and we had a modern port of this on Steam. But hey, look at all of these credits here. These people are responsible for making the not worst Sonic game ever made, so credit where it's due. Thank you guys. You did a not terrible job, which is impressive for Gameloft, because terrible is all they really know. If there's one major takeaway from all this, is that for Sonic on handhelds, Sega knew no bounds, man. They would go into their board meetings and go, hey, can we put this hedgehog in some software real quick? That'd be really cool. And they would go, oh, wait a minute, we just shipped 30 different games. You should have asked us sooner. Dude, some of these old mobile games, they look like these cheap bootlegs, and it's just, oh, I forgot the handheld bootlegs. Ah, dude, of course, the Game Boy Classic, Sonic Adventure 7. What happened to 3 through 6? It's terrible. You see, you're the fool here. You may have gone your entire life not thinking that even the Game Boy had some Sonic games because Sega had its own console. Why would they put them on the Nintendo console? Well, hoo boy, would you ever be wrong here, buddy? I mean, hell, if we're throwing fan games into this conversation, why not include these too? They may have been fans when they made these games in their Chinese sweatshops. I don't know. I'm still waiting on the developer documentary. Gaming bootlegs is an entire other world that we can get into, and it's just a friggin' minefield as far as the eye could see, but it will always be interesting. Back when I was first checking out this magical thing called the internet when I was a wee little kid, I saw this title screen for something called Sonic the Hedgehog 4 on the Super Nintendo. My young mind was blown. I didn't know there was a Sonic 4, just to find out it's a garbage sprite swap of Speedy Gonzales, Los Gatos Bandidos. My young mind was then pissed. Ooh, Sonic 3D Blast 5, back where it all started. Let's look at the technological leap between 3D Blast 5 and Adventure 7. Simply going from 5 to 6 was gonna undersell just how big of a jump this was. Dude, and do not get me started on Sonic Adventure 8. Holy sh**. Did you know there was also a fan game called Sonic Blasting Adventure that's a remake of all 3 of these games? God, life really is funny sometimes. As if Sonic's history isn't already this crazy massive spaghetti just thrown up against the wall, re-experiencing every one of these mobile games just really reconfirms that Sega had no idea what they were doing with this hedgehog from the very beginning, and I gotta tell ya, I love him as a result. For better or for worse, every Sonic game provided a unique experience. It wasn't like Mario, where they would compile all of these great ideas into one groundbreaking platformer that they can ride off of for years to come. If someone had an idea for this blue hedgehog, damn it, they made a game about it. Now certainly, smaller, more unique Sonic titles will continue to release until the end of time. We still got some semblance of that right here. That ain't stopping anytime soon, and I'm very excited for Sonic Superstars. But you know what? At the end of the day, thanks to Sonic Origins Plus releasing on all major consoles, a whole new generation can experience Sonic Blast for the first time. Thank God.